So it's an epilepsy that can be characterized by seizures which are very difficult to control, or a drug-resistant epilepsy linked into learning disability and also behavior, attention, concentration problems, and even other problems including speech and also gait and difficulties with walking that can develop over many years. We've just done a study in Scotland which is completed over 3 years, where all children in Scotland with new onset febrile convulsions or epilepsy have had gene testing, and from that we have found an incidence of what we call SCN1A or sodium channel genetic diagnoses of about 1 in 12,000 births. Now, approximately of those, we're not sure exactly how many of those children will develop Dravet syndrome, but I think it will be between 1 in 16,000 to 1 in 20,000 of the population. Now, previous estimates had been from what we call retrospective studies, which means when you look backwards at a group of children or adults, and the estimated highest incidence had been about 1 in 21,000. So I think it's a lot more common than was previously considered. There's no cure for Dravet syndrome, unfortunately. So it's a condition which is very severe in its impact in terms of the epilepsy and its impact on learning and behaviour. But there are many treatments and a lot of support that we can give families, both treatments to try and help with the seizures and other treatments to try and help with all the additional problems, and also just having support from organisations like Dravet Syndrome UK is critical for these families as well, because then they get peer support from other families, advice about how to look after their children as well. Now there are hopes for cures or hopes for even better treatments, so we have it's quite an exciting time now in the treatment of Dravet syndrome, because there are new drugs that are currently under trial for Dravet syndrome. And there are also the beginnings of gene therapy trials for Dravet syndrome, not in children yet, but in experimental models. And we've seen in other aspects of neurology that gene therapy is now beginning to be effective for some other conditions. So there's no cure at present, but we have a lot of hope for the future. We've just finished a big project looking at all children in Scotland with new onset epilepsy for 3 years, and this has been a collaborative project with all my colleagues, all the other child neurologists, paediatricians in every single hospital in Scotland. So we've been doing gene testing, including the genes associated with Dravet syndrome in all new onset children with epilepsy, and from that we're finding a very high diagnostic rate. So getting to between 20 to 30% of children we do gene testing, we find a cause. And what we're finding now is that about 80% of those genetic causes are then causing us to change our treatment based on gene testing. So our research is showing that really genetics is going to be crucial in the diagnosis of epilepsy.